Hi, welcome in. I'm Suzanne, and I am so happy to be here with you today for this integration and implementation session. Take your time to get settled into this space, this container that we'll have together for the next 40 minutes, and whatever that looks like for you. So for me, I've got my hot water here. I've got a little candle lit. I brought some beautiful flowers so that my space feels really supportive for this container with you all. So take your time now to grab what you need. Get your coffee, hot chocolate, tea, your pen, your journal, your iPad if you like to take notes there. Your practice and reflection guide is a great tool that you could use to record any insights from this session as well. One of the things that I really cherish about our heart mind community is that it's a global community. So if you could put in the chat where you're joining us from. I'm in Raleigh, North Carolina. We're having one of the coldest days of the year since 2022 right now. So let me know where you're joining from. Where in the world are you? Hi, Penelope from Nova Scotia. Thank you for being here. I'll give you, while everyone's introducing themselves, I'll give you a little overview of what you can expect from this session. So over the last 6 days, you have had access to and received a profound amount of wisdom through the talks with experts, through our interactive faculty-led Q&A sessions, through the live meditations we've hosted each morning. And so today is not about adding anything more. It's instead about allowing what's already here, what you've already gathered over the last 6 days, to land, to give it a space to take root. I was talking to my colleague Angie about this week, and I told her all the sessions, all the talks to me felt like capturing a picture. So I had photography is one of my hobbies. And I told her it felt like capturing a picture. Something piqued my interest, something was really beautiful or noteworthy, and I snapped that picture mentally. But what can so often happen with digital and especially film photography is that we take the picture and then nothing happens with it. It sits, the negative sits undeveloped. And that is really what this integration and implementation session is all about, to help you feel resourced to continue this work so that the metaphorical photos that you've taken over the week don't sit in a shoebox and collect dust, that you can really develop these photos, do something with them, take action with the wisdom that you've received, integrate it and implement it into your life. So and that can look different for everybody, and it can look different for every little nugget of wisdom that you've received. Some photos we keep in a digital library, some we print and frame, some we hang on the wall, some we put as magnets on the fridge. So that is really the gift that you have here in this space, is to feel resourced, to take some tools with you so that you can make use of all the wisdom, all the guidance, all the little sparks of inspiration that you've gathered over the last 6 days of Heal and Restore. So with that said, I hope you've taken your time to get what you need for this space. Thank you so much for letting me know where you're joining us from. We've got people from Florida, Chicago, Germany, Moldova, Montenegro, Savannah, Georgia, Washington State, someone else from Nova Scotia. It's a beautiful snowy day there. We've got New Hyde Park, New York, Sweden, South Carolina. Thank you so much for being here. If you feel comfortable, I would invite you to turn on your camera so that we can really engage together. This is an interactive session, so there will be a chance for you to engage in discussion. And part of engaging in discussion can feel more connected when we have that sense of who it is we're speaking to, and we can see their reactions. So if you feel comfortable, I'd invite you to turn your camera on to really connect here in this space with me and with your peers in your Heart Mind community. If you don't feel comfortable, if you're driving, if you're engaged in something else, I completely understand. Your presence here is still so welcome, so valued, whether you come off mute and on camera or not. Thank you for being here. And just a gentle encouragement that if you do feel like you could, to just please come on and join us. Join us on camera. So, one of the important things that we can keep in mind is that insight integration happens when insight meets capacity. So if we are in these constricted states of busyness, of stress, anxiety, worry, it can be really difficult for any new insights or new possibilities to take root when we're in these constricted states. So I'd like to open up our space with spaciousness. I am a yoga teacher, and I'd like for us to bring a little bit of movement into our session this morning so that we can create physical and thereby mental and emotional space for our conversation, for the wisdom to land. So this practice can be done seated, could also be done standing up if you'd like. We're going to do what's called Pratapana. It's the 6 movements of the spine. And this just helps us feel a little bit looser and more limber in our bodies. Oh, it's so good to see. I'm seeing some of you that I meditated with and was in expert guided sessions with. It's good to see you again. Thank you for being here. Okay, so with that said, let's get started. Find a nice, comfortable position. You can stand or you can sit. You want to create a little bit of length in your spine. So think about reaching the crown of your head toward the sky, root your sits bones down into the earth. With your inhale, reach your arms overhead. With your exhale, twist to your left and let your arms gently come down. Gaze to the left. Inhale back to center. Exhale to the other side. Twist from your core, let your arms float down. Inhale back to center. Exhale, twist to your left. Inhale back to center. Exhale, twist to the left. Inhale your arms up overhead. Exhale, squeeze your elbows down towards shoulder level. Imagine a balloon attached to a string attached to your heart. The balloon lifts, your heart lifts for a tiny little back bend. You can gaze up, lifting your heart toward the sky. With your exhale, squeeze your forearms together, gaze toward your navel. This is like a seated cat. Inhale, open your arms, lift your heart, gaze up. Exhale, contract, gaze towards your navel. 2 more. Inhale to open. Exhale into your seated cat variation. Come back to center. Release your hands by your side. Let your right hand come off to the right side. If you're on a chair, it can rest on a chair, it can rest on your leg. Reach your left arm up and over for a side bend. Use the strength of your obliques to float back to center. Lower your left hand down, sweep your right hand up, arc over to the other side. Float slow and easy back to center. Lower your right hand, Sweep your left arm up and overhead. Last one, left hand drops to the left side, right arm sweeps up and over. And come to center. You can rest both hands. We'll take a few movements with the neck and shoulder. If you have vertigo or dizziness, just take this one very slow and easy. Lower your right ear toward your right shoulder. If you have space here, you might extend your left fingertips off to the left side, creating even more openness through the left side of your neck, your shoulders. Lower your chin toward your chest. Feel a little bit of spaciousness in the back of your neck. Reach your left ear toward your left shoulder. Extend your right fingertips off to the right if you have more space, if it feels okay. Gaze up. And now smooth out this circle. Right ear to the right shoulder, chin to chest, left ear to left shoulder. Gaze up. One more in this direction. Right ear to right shoulder, chin to chest, left ear to left shoulder. Gaze up. Slowly, gently reverse the direction of your circle. Left ear to left shoulder. Gaze down. Right ear to right shoulder. Gaze up. Last one. Left ear to left shoulder. Chin to chest. Right ear to right shoulder. Gaze up. Come to your neutral seated position. You can shake out your hands if you have any extra energy that needs to be discharged before you feel at ease. Thank you so much for joining me in that spaciousness creating practice, short and effective. Please let me know in just a couple of words, how are you arriving into this space right now? You can put in the chat, how are you arriving into this space? It could be a one word, it could be a short sentence. Thinking about the last 6 days that we've spent in Heal and Restore, and know maybe this is the first session you've been to all week, and that is perfect that you're here. I'm so glad you're here. Maybe you attended a couple meditations or a couple of the live sessions or listened to several of the talks. Just let me know, thinking over the last week, how are you arriving into this space now? Barbara's arriving with faith. Thank you so much, Barbara. I'm glad that you're feeling faithful here. Grounded, excited, but mentally drained. So much information. Does anyone else relate to that? Give me the react button. You can give a thumbs up. Did anyone else feel excited, but mentally drained? So much information. I know I felt that way, and I actually felt a little bit guilty, like, oh my gosh, there's all these amazing talks and I'm not able to listen to each one. And I had these like thought cycles like, oh, I should be listening to more, I should be doing more. And when I was in a live session yesterday with Austin Mao, some of you were in there too. And someone similar was thinking, oh, I just don't know if I have time to be here because there's so much on my to-do list. And as we kept moving through the session, it became apparent, and the person said, I feel like this was where I was supposed to be. Like, this is okay. So if you are feeling that way, you had some resonance. I saw some thumbs up. You are not alone in feeling like there was so much information. And these experiences are not designed that you could consume everything in one day or even in the 6 days. That's why we offer the lifetime access option so that you have time to process and really take in these teachings. So don't worry if you do feel like you were on information overload. Thank you for showing up today. I hope that we're able to create a little bit of spaciousness here so that something that you learned from the week can take root. Yeah, we had, okay, someone else feeling overloaded, grateful, overwhelmed and relieved. Yeah, Leo enjoyed the interactive live sessions. It added a lot to the experience. I agree. Stephanie, good to see you. We were in a live session together. Okay, epiphany about how my past events still impact me. Very interested with the shaman's healing and going back to nature and being quiet. That's the huge question. How do you pick and choose which ones you want to watch before they expire? Yeah, did anyone else feel a tension or a friction with that too, picking and choosing or feeling like you wanted to listen to so many and having to narrow down what was your top choice? You can give me a thumbs up if you also felt that way. The best option, I think, is to be guided by your intuition. So you have the titles and the bullets of descriptions of what's covered in each talk, and that's what helped me prioritize which ones I wanted to listen to, which ones I felt this kind of pull toward. And honestly, I also used the pictures. Like when I saw the picture of the person, did I feel a resonance? Did something pique my interest about them that made me want to tune into the talk? This is a hack, I would say, that's not necessarily the best in a world that's so
No.
sped up, but you could put it in a little bit of speed, a 1.2 speed to get through them a little faster. That's something I've used when I really, really want to hear the talk, but I know I don't have the time to listen to it in its full duration. Okay, Tia, good to see you again. Thank you for being here. It feels more comfortable and familiar. It's exactly the period of time it takes me to miss people I met somewhere when the event is over. Yeah, that was one of the things I also really appreciated about this experience was the community that we built, especially on day 6 community and day 5 relationship 2, that we got to be in community with each other. We got to know a little bit about each other. We got to experience some of each other's struggles and wins as well. So I really love that. And that's one of the things that our community, our Hard Mind membership community offers, that you can stay in community with the people that you meet here, that you can meet other Hard Mind members who are also on similar journeys of self-transformation and personal growth. So that's another option where you can stay connected. So thank you for giving me a little overview of how you're arriving into this space right now. I want us to take a few moments to ground into a meditative experience so that we can clear the mind, clear the emotions. We've already expanded the body, and we're kind of moving along the same trajectory that that heal and restore was. So day 1 we started with body, day 2 we did mind, day 3 was emotions, day 4 spirit, day 5 relationships, and day 6 community. Here we are in a beautiful community. We've moved our bodies a little bit. Let's clear the mind, emotions, and spirit so that we can move through the rest of our discussion from a place of clarity. So come back to your seated position. You can lay down if you feel more comfortable. Find a nice tall spine. Reach the crown of your head toward the sky. Root your sits bones down. You can leave your eyes open if that helps you feel really grounded and connected. Or you can soften your eyes closed if that helps you tune into your inner experience more. And give yourself the gift of the space here. For insights to integrate, we often don't need to think harder or strive more or force. What we often need is to create more space so that what's already resonating with us can take root and be given room to bloom. So I'll offer that as our intention. If you have another intention, you can bring that forth now in your heart, in your mind, to your awareness. And let your awareness shift to your breath. See if you can get really present and in tune with the breath itself, not the concept of breathing, not the image of breathing, but the air right here, right now, being pulled in through your nostrils. Where does it go in your body? Can you feel your lungs fill with air through your chest, through your belly? As you exhale, can you sense a softening of your ribs, of your chest? Can you feel the air pass through your nostrils warmer than when it first entered? And as you move into deeper and deeper presence with your breath, can you even detect the space between the inhale and the exhale? This micro pause, no longer inhaling, not yet exhaling. And what is this space? What is that pause? How does it feel? Can you sense that same pause at the bottom of your exhale when the exhale is complete and the inhale has not yet started? Keep moving into deeper and deeper presence and awareness with your breath, with the sensation of the air as it flows through your body, and how you're engaging with the space around you as you release the air on your exhale. And this beautiful loop of inhaling and exhaling that our body does for us day in and day out. And as we come into this space, take note of your mental state, your thought body. And bring your awareness to the head space, to your mind. And we are not analyzing the thoughts, we're just noticing what's the general quality of the mind right here, right now. Move your awareness down to your heart center, your chest. Notice your emotional state. Again, we don't need to attach stories or analyze, we can just notice. Happiness is here, sadness is here, unease could be here, joy, whatever it is for you, notice, feel. And now begin to scan your body. Notice any sensations in the body. Did any aches and pains join you in this practice? Maybe a sense of flexibility, strength. Scan and notice, be present with, and avoid attaching stories or analyzing. Keep scanning and noticing. And as you're moving toward the end of this practice, begin to sense the space around you with a little more acute awareness. See if you can feel the sensation of your clothes against your skin. Maybe you can sense the air moving around you. What sounds can you detect in the room you're in? And are there any scents in the room? Invite some movement back into your fingers, your toes. You can flutter your eyes open. And welcome yourself back into this Zoom room. Take some stretches, whatever you need to come back into this space, back into your body, closing out your meditation practice. Now I want us to move into a few contemplation questions as we are reflecting and taking note of everything we've noticed, been inspired by through the talks and sessions over the last 6 days. Heal and restore. So I want you to reflect just for a moment. I'm going to type this in the chat. What restores my energy rather than drains it? What restores my energy rather than drains it? This experience was all about healing and restoring. And oftentimes, restoration can happen in ways that don't need striving. Sometimes restoration happens in rest. So maybe for you, restoration looks like rest. Maybe it looks like engaging in a creative outlet. Maybe it looks like journaling. So take a moment and reflect. And you can share your insights in the chat. Thank you, Penelope. Yoga. Fresh air is so accessible for many of us and a huge way to restore. Walking in nature. Silence, stop, meditate, take a walk, play music. Yeah, playing piano. Music can be so therapeutic. Pets can too, relaxing with pets, teaching. And so many times we know the things that help us, or we can sense it. We have an inkling of what could help us, but we don't always choose those things. So I want you to think now, what gets in the way of you choosing what gives you restoration? What gets in the way of you choosing what energizes you? What gets in the way of you going on a walk or doing yoga or petting your cats? What gets in the way of playing piano? All the things you've listed and the things you haven't. What roadblocks do you encounter that prevent you from choosing these things that give you energy? Yeah, give me a thumbs up if you can resonate with what Barbara said, thinking I do not have time. This is a really prevalent one. And fear. Kendra noted fear, thinking I have to complete my to-do list before I can engage in self-care. It almost becomes this, the to-do list itself begins preventing you. Penelope said other priorities in quotations. Yeah, competing priorities, that's one for a lot of people. Motivation, family responsibilities. Yeah, Dorothea noted an interesting one, not allowed, have to be busy, fear to kind of meet all of myself and having to change quite a bit in my life. So sometimes we know that if we were to slow down enough to do these practices, it would open new parts of ourselves. And that can feel scary. What's in there? What am I going to find that I haven't been able to face yet? So we can keep ourselves busy as an avoidance tactic to not even go there. Thank you for being so transparent and honest with us and yourself, Dorothea. That's beautiful. Yeah, guilt is a huge one, and it can be a big one, especially for women and moms in particular, that you're taking time away from your family if you show up for yourself, if you do your self-care. So thinking now about all you've learned this week, the talks that you've listened to, the sessions you've attended, the meditations you've done, the reflections that you've done on your own, the contemplation time, if you've made time for contemplation time, what feels possible if you were to think from this highest self? What would be possible for you?
Sorry, can you repeat that, please?
What would be possible for you if you, instead of listening to these blocks, the ones about fear or needing to complete the to-do list, and if you leaned into these things you listed previously that would support your energy, what would become possible for you? We're zooming out to the highest self, so not thinking from the small one that's seeing all the limitations, but what would be possible for you if you leaned into these energy practices, energy giving practices? And this can be a hard time of year to, but a really crucial time of year to be thinking about this. So many of us are celebrating holidays that demand a lot of our energy and can further pull us from the practices we know would support us. But what would be possible if we chose what we know will give us energy and restoration? Yeah, you would likely feel a lot more grounded, content, resilient. You could engage with your body with awareness and not judgment. Better health, that's a huge one. Freedom, manifesting my dreams, another huge one. To immigrate soon, making a big life change, that requires a lot of energy. Finally, change career with faith and confidence instead of worrying. Better flow. So again, it's sometimes this work we're doing right here is not easy, but sometimes it's more accessible to approach this from the mind. We can think, oh, sure, this is what I need for more energy. This is what would be possible if I did these practices that I know are going to give me healing and restoration. But when it comes down to actually taking the action steps, that's a lot of times where the alignment can fall off. And it gets even worse if we approach it from a lens of self-criticism or self-punishment or things that further constrict. Remember in the beginning of the practice, we talked about being constricted and how it's hard for new possibilities to land in a constricted state. Spaciousness is the opposite of that. Spaciousness helps us see possibilities, and being kind to ourselves is part of that spacious space creating nature. So I want us to think here about an anchor practice, something that's reasonable, something that's doable. It doesn't have to be the most aspirational thing that might actually intimidate you and prevent you from even taking the first step. Think about a small anchor practice that's doable and reasonable that could take you one step closer to choosing what gives you energy instead of drains you. So it's going to look different for everybody. For some, it might be uh, committing to stretching before bed 3 nights a week. For some, it might be committing to not check your phone as soon as you wake up, or if you realize that you've done it, to give yourself a 5 minute pause or break once you realize you've done it. It's so unique to you and what your needs are. I'm just giving you a few examples, but think about what is this small anchor practice. It can be daily, but if that's going to be too much for you, just what frequency can be doable for you. think about the practice, think about the frequency, think about your capacity. Listen to music a few minutes daily. What kind of music is going to support you and give you energy? Ooh, this is a good one. When I wake up in the morning, open the curtains and look out the window rather than lying in bed ruminating. Take 3 deep breaths. Start the day with 20-minute meditation followed by 5-minute breath work. Stretch, 360X. Okay, so Penelope's already started 5 minutes breath work, 5-minute meditation, and 5-minute dancing each morning. Yeah, just one song a day and moving energy, shifting things up, you will create space. And that one's pretty doable. 10-minute Qigong, 3 sun salutations. So these are your anchor practices. This is what you can uh, anchor back into to keep yourself on track, to give yourself this energy and give yourself restoration and healing. How are you going to keep yourself accountable? That's the other component. How can we be accountable to these anchor practices? So for me, one thing that helps is actually tracking my meditation. So I'll write down and check off each day when I meditate so that I'm keeping myself accountable that I'm doing it. How can you keep yourself accountable to these anchor practices that you've identified? Yeah, Barbara echoed noting in a calendar, using the TM app to wake up early during the week. Apps can be great tools. We can use technology tools to keep us accountable for sure. Check it off. Oh, Cynthia is going to do no phone until exercise done. That will keep you accountable because you might need the phone pretty soon. Yeah, the approach is huge, Penelope. How you approach it. If you're doing it, oh, this is discipline, this is willpower alone, this is something I have to strive for, then it takes on almost this again, that self-punitive nature. But when we approach it like I'm giving myself more energy, I'm giving myself the gift of restoration, I'm giving myself spaciousness to show up better for my friends, my family, my colleagues. That can help us when we start to waver to be like, no, I am going to do this because I know how much it helps me. Using a notebook and alarms to check if I remember to stick to the plan. These are all great accountability tools. And I also want us to think about our community. Being in community with people can be a really big help for staying accountable to ourselves and to our goals, especially when you're surrounded by like-minded people who are working towards similar things or have similar aspirations to you. Oh, I love this one, Dorothea. Celebrating after. Yeah, that's going to activate your reward system and remind yourself why you're doing this, that this is something fun and something helpful. It's not just another thing to check off the list. So I agree with celebrating micro celebrations, macro celebrations, creating goals. Like maybe you make it to this many days and you have a celebration. Maybe you share it with your friends and they can also celebrate with you and validate your progress. I know we're coming to the end of our time here in our integration and implementation session. I've really enjoyed learning more about what you all learned throughout these 6 days together, learning more about your things that could be keeping you stuck, what's motivating you to keep moving forward. And I want to tell you a little bit about what we can offer you from the hard mind perspective. So I know one of the comments in the beginning was just how overwhelming the volume of content was. Purchasing lifetime access to this is one of the best ways to have this treasure trove of information for when you most need it. Sometimes we listen to a talk and it might go right over our heads. We weren't in a space to receive it at that time. Sometimes we go through different things in life, different things happen, we have a different perspective, and now suddenly what didn't click for us before can click now based on where we are. Sometimes this talk really inspires you, but it's heavy and there's a lot to it. You might need to listen to it 3 times to really get all that you need to get out of it. So that's what I love about the lifetime access is that it gives you time and space. You don't have to rush, you don't have to feel pressured. You have the gift of time and space. And thank you for the question in the chat. Is there a group? Yes, we have our Heart Mind membership group where you can be involved with each other. You can have live coaching sessions with our founder, Fleet Mall. You have a book club where you can be reading and be inspired with people. Our facilitator, Megan, also does different community things in our online community so that you're staying connected with people and getting support with your goals, staying accountable to these anchor items and learning more. Thank you. Thank you, Kendra, for sharing the value that you got from the live Q&A sessions. I thought they were a highlight for me as well. So all that said, please consider if you were moved by these talks, if you feel like you would benefit, consider purchasing the lifetime access to Heal and Restore through midnight tonight, through 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's at a discounted rate, 50% off, $197. This is a gift you can give yourself that will keep on giving. It will impact everyone you come into contact with through you, including yourself. So I will open it up now if you have any questions. And thank you. Angie's put in the chat the lifetime access link. Yeah, thank you, Barbara. I'm glad you found it safe and doable. Thanks for joining, Dorothea. Thank you all so much for sharing your presence, your practice, your insights. This session will be available via replay through 7 a.m. Eastern Time tomorrow. If you want to come back to anything here, you're able to do that through tomorrow morning. And if there's no further questions, we'll close out this session. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you.